Alright, so a spray gun that really needs no introduction. Today we are taking a look at the Techna Prolite by Devilbiss. Now of course this is the special edition, so it does come in a different color than what you're used to seeing. Normally these are black, but they also make a pink one, or pinkish purple color, and also they do have a navy blue. Now of course you do get some additional tips. You get a 1.2 and a 1.4. Also you do get the disassembly tool, air pressure regulator, digital air pressure regulator, and also some identification rings. Alright, so now taking a look at the Techna Prolite by Devilbiss. Of course this is the special edition, and it does come in a purplish pink or violet color. Now I do care to mention a couple things about this spray gun that I liked, and also some things that I did not like. So go ahead and stay tuned for the review. If you are looking into possibly purchasing one of these spray guns, I do care to mention a couple things about the gun that I didn't really care for, but there was also some features that of course I did like, and that led me up to purchasing this spray gun. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with the dissection of the Techna Prolite and really get into how good this spray gun actually is. Now of course this one does have a TE20. It did not come with a TE10 air cap, but then again I did buy this spray gun secondhand, so some of the things or some of the features I wasn't really able to pick and choose what I wanted out of my Techna Prolite, but as you guys know, I did get this spray gun for a pretty good price, and with that I'm gonna say that I think I am very happy with my purchase. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start with the disassembly, but first I do want to talk about the outside of the gun, and then we'll work our way in to the inside of the spray gun. So as you guys know, the Techna Prolite is by no means a cheap spray gun, okay? This is a professional grade spray gun, a gun that is basically designed to spray any type of paint in any weather condition, okay? And that's basically where the Techna Prolite really shines, is its versatility. Its versatility in being able to spray just about anything you put into the cup: base coat, clear coat, single stage, or any other paint. Or it might not even be paint. It might be some different types of solvents, or maybe some adhesives, something like that. This gun could basically do it all. Of course I wouldn't recommend spraying anything other than automotive paint, but of course you are able to do that if you so choose to. Of course that's your gun, not my gun. So anyway, we're going to be talking about some of the features. Now of course, very ergonomic. I did like that it is a shorter body, so where you fit your hands, if you have small hands, this gun is going to be very, very comfortable for you. Again, the trigger feels really good. You're able to put 2 fingers on it, and it's very, very comfortable. I mean, it's designed to be in the hand, and you could really tell. Also, as you can notice down here, where the arch of your hand fits, it's recessed so that you're able to reach the trigger a little bit better. And also the grips does feel very nice. Now of course the real ones are the real Techna Prolites are stamped on both sides. If you get a fake one, normally you don't have a stamping on the on one of the sides. So that's one way to identify a real Techna Prolite versus a fake one. Now of course you do have all its labelings there, certifications, pressure, pressure limitations or minimums and maximums. Of course, the labeling. Now, one thing I did not like about this gun, and it has to do with the outside, is the finish. Now, of course, if I was able to choose what finish I would get, I would stick with the black version of the Tekna Prolite. This version, the special edition version, doesn't come very glossy. This is more of like a matte finish. I would describe it as like a dry powder coat finish, and it doesn't feel super buttery smooth like you would normally feel on the black version. Also, it does make it a little bit harder to clean because the surface is a little bit more porous. Paint tends to kind of stick more easily to this, and it is a little bit harder to clean. But other than that, that's just a small nitpick. So if it was me, I probably wouldn't buy the special edition. I'd probably just stick with the black edition. So a couple cool features about the Tekna Prolite. Of course, the knobs, very high quality, as to be expected with a product in this caliber. Now, of course, Devilbiss is known for making some of the best guns on the market. Of course, there's many other. I'm not saying they're the absolute best, but for the money, typically a Devilbiss is a little bit on the more affordable side than most other companies that I won't mention. Of course, on the knobs, very, very nice. They do have a little bit of an indication of how far you're opening up the fluid. Now, of course, you have the fluid and the fan control. Of course, on the trigger, very high quality. As you can see, the chroming, just absolutely great finish, and a very excellent job. On the front side, on the actual air cap, give it 1 second to try to focus here. On the air cap, Techna Pro TE10, or I'm sorry, a TE20. This, of course, is made out of stainless material, and very, very high quality. Now, of course, if you're not familiar with the type of materials that they are using, for these guns, they're typically using 400 series stainless steel, and which is going to allow you to spray most or just about any material, down from primers to single stages and all that. You're going to be able to spray just about anything you put this gun through. So we're going to go ahead and swap lenses and then really start taking a look at the quality of this spray gun. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start taking a look at the air cap of the Tekna Prolite. And let me see if I can get it real close up here. Give the camera a second. She's kind of slow, so forgive her. So anyway, the Tekna Prolite, as you guys can see, oh, there it goes. As you guys can tell right here with the Tekna Prolite air cap, we got a very nicely machined piece. Now you guys do see a little bit of the tooling marks, but that's still very, very high quality stainless steel air cap. You could see that it's just perfect. Okay, it's hard to really put words into perspective of how good this air cap actually is. Now, as you could see, the design there, a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from other spray guns. You could see that where the air horns come out and how the actual air cap is designed. Very, very different from some of the other cheaper spray guns that we have had on the channel. And as you could tell, the stainless steel, well, one thing I gotta explain about some of the stainless steels that are used on higher end guns is that they are 400 series stainless steel, so you are going to have a harder material. So to have a perfect super like mirror finish on a machine piece, you know, it's a little bit more harder to achieve, just because the material that they are using is a lot more hard, I guess you could say harder material to cut. Okay, so they, you know, they still have to cut it slow, but as you can see, no imperfections whatsoever. Also some high grade air cap seal there. Also you have a retaining ring, so if you do want to take the air cap apart, of course you could take off that retaining ring and this front section will come right out. Makes it easier to clean, and still a very good machine piece. As you can see, this is the TE20, so the TE20 is going to have slightly bigger air horns, and I believe it has slightly bigger jets as well. Don't quote me on that. I don't have a TE10 to really compare it to, but as far as what I have seen, those are going to be the key differences with the TE10 and the TE20. Now they also make another air cap, which is the HVLP air cap. And so, you know, basically when it comes down to versatility, the Tekna Prolite is just bar none. Okay, you're going to be able to spray in any type of weather just by changing the air caps, changing your settings a little bit. Now with the TE20 air cap, you do have slightly lower inlet pressure. This one is about 26, I believe. On the TE10, I think max PSI is 35, and with the HVLP, I think is the same, about 35 PSI. Yeah, you do have a little differences on the air cap. Now, taking a look at the nozzle. Now, this is a used spray gun, so it's not super clean, but we do notice that it is very well machined, and of course they're using some of the best materials. Of course, when you're spending $600, $500, of course you are expecting some good materials here, and you know, obviously Devilbiss doesn't let you hanging. They do provide you with a excellent work, not only in craftsmanship but also in material. Alright, now taking a look at the surface, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Something I didn't really like is the surface on the finishing. Of course, like I said, it seems like it's like a dry powder coat finish. Something I'm not super excited about. Like I said, if I did have a choice to get the black version, of course I would do that. Now, that's not to take away from the performance of the gun. The gun is going to perform well. This is just a matter of preference. Now, of course, the chroming on the trigger, very high quality, as you can tell right there. And no imperfections whatsoever on this spray gun. Even being secondhand, I don't see any nicks or really any scratching. Now, the guy that I purchased this from told me that he only had used it once, and I pretty much believe him. I'm not seeing a bunch of paint everywhere and whatnot. Now, the knobs, very well machined, and also a really good material. It seems like they're using aluminum on the knobs, and also very buttery smooth. I mean, just excellent work. Same with the fan control. Again, very buttery smooth, and no problems whatsoever there. So we're going to go ahead and pull the the fluid needle out, and start to take a look at the fluid needle. Give me 1 second. Alright, so I did notice that the Tekna Prolite's needle is a slightly different design. Now, if you guys do notice something on the needle, I actually cleaned it and I still have some residue there, but then again, the needle just absolutely perfect, buttery smooth. Of course, this is to be expected when you're paying this much for a spray gun. You want the absolute best, and like I said, Devilbiss just absolutely knocks it out of the park. They're one of the most one of the most prestigious brands as far as spray guns go. You're getting your money's worth, okay, guys? There is just no bar none when it comes to the type of material and, of course, the craftsmanship that goes into not only designing a type of spray gun like this, but also making them. They just did an excellent job. So moving on, and now, of course, real quick, the needle also made out of stainless steel. And of course it is non-magnetic, but I don't have my magnet here to demonstrate that. Now taking a look at the nozzle. Again, very high-end quality. You could see the machining, and of course you got a very good material, stainless steel. Now, something I didn't notice, as you could see on the holes there for the nozzle, they're actually tapered or beveled, which I thought was pretty interesting. Most other spray guns, they don't do that. It's basically just a hole, and it's just straight. This one, they actually took the time to actually bevel the holes, which I thought was pretty odd. Most spray gun manufacturers don't take the time to do that, but that goes to show you the type of quality that you're going to expect from Devilbiss. And of course, like I said, this is to be expected, but of course Devilbiss is just known for their quality spray guns. Alright, so taking a look at the front of the Tekna Prolite. Now, as you can see, this is the baffle seal and distribution ring. And now let me just quickly take this off. Now, of course, there is a gasket on the back, and I'm not a fan of this type of gasket. I think they should have used a different material, but then again, this does do the job. And of course, they're not going to use cheap material on a gun of this caliber. So still not my favorite gasket, but then again, it does the job, and it's probably will suffice. Now, of course, I have seen these go bad. What ends up tending to happen on these seals is because it's being compressed, it does tend to blow out. Usually here on the thinner ones, you could kind of see this one starting to do it. So I probably should start changing this gasket, or thinking of changing this gasket. And also sometimes on the edges here, it'll blow out. Now, so if you do have a spray pattern issue, take a look at this gasket and make sure that it's in good condition. Now, of course, the air distribution ring, taking a look in the front here, I'm not sure if you guys could really catch that. It is a little bit dark in here, but you got some massive amount of air coming out of this thing. You got two holes, one on each side. Typically, what you'll see on a spray gun, or at least on a lower end spray gun, is you're going to have one hole coming out, and this one shows that just massive amounts of air. This thing is going to move volumes, okay? And I'll explain a little bit more on the design here. Now, also, you do have an opening here on top and here on the center, where the paint actually comes through the center. That's actually where the paint comes out. Everything else is just air. So if we look at the air distribution ring, you will notice real quick here. So let me put this back on. Alright, sorry, that took me a little longer than expected. So as you could tell here, well, here you go. So as you could tell here, this is where the air is coming out of the baffle seal or the air distribution ring. Now we also have a section up here on top. So as you could tell, the air that's coming out through the center ports right here, this is actually where the center of the air is coming out of. Okay, so it's going right in the middle. Now as you could tell, we have a ring right here, also a ring here, and also the air that comes out for the air horns. Let's see if it'll focus. Come on. There you go. So the air that comes out for the air horns is obviously the outer ring. So you're getting air coming out here and filling up this outer circle for the air horns, and then separate air in the center here on the I mean, this thing is going to move massive amount of air. Okay, guys. So this is where high volume air is going to make for finer atomization, and not only on air cap design, but also the volume of air. So this is how it shears, how it's able to shear the paint with air. And of course, the finer you're able to shear the paint, obviously the better atomization. Now of course there is some limitation. If you're over atomizing, then you're going to have obviously some issues. So the air cap helps to get the finest atomization. But of course, like I said, two massive ports in the spray gun that's going to allow that amount of air. As you can see, one right there and one right there. So two major ports. Now of course the air doesn't need to really circulate. This is a direct amount of air coming out. So in most guns that I have seen, usually it gets redirected, air comes out, and then it kind of fills up the air cap. With this one, it kind of just shoots straight out, and you're able to see that. Now of course the paint comes out through the center port, and I'm not sure if you guys could really see that. It is a little bit dark in there, but that's where the paint comes out, is through the center. So very, very cool. This spray gun is, I could see why a lot of guys use this spray gun. It's going to be able to just pump out paint, and this is really going to help when it comes down to hot weather or humid weather, like if you spray it in Florida or Louisiana or places like that where it's very, very hot and very, very humid. This is where this spray gun is really going to shine, as far as being able to still lay down some paint even when the weather is less than perfect. Alright, so now that we took a look at the Tekna Prolite, we're going to take a look at some of the additional components that it comes with. Now of course it does come with a digital air pressure gauge. I'm not a very big fan of this. Most of the digital stuff I'm not a very big fan of. I always like the manual pressure gauge. Of course, it is really eligible, but of course with overtime you're not going to be able to see through this film. Also, it's not the highest grade manometer or pressure gauge, whatever you want to call it. It does state it's in PSI, and I believe in different ranges, in different parts of the world, you're probably going to have a different reading. Not sure how to change that. I wish you're able to use or able to change it from PSI to bar to whatever else. people are using out there, kilopascals or whatever. Then again, on the valve side, good quality, good feel, and you could feel that valve just, opening up or screwing down. It feels really, really nice. So as far as mechanically, good valve. Digitally, I think they could have gone with something a little bit better. But then again, it does the job, and they are providing you this gauge with the gun, which is obviously they're doing you kind of a due diligence. Now, of course, you do have two different sizes extra tips. We have a 1.4 and a 1.2. So if you're kind of more of a beginner painter, this gun, like I said, is going to be able to pump out some paint, and I mean, you're gonna be moving with this spray gun, okay? So if you wanted to slow it down, of course, you could do 1.2, or if the paint that you're using requires you to use a 1.2, you're able to switch the nozzle out real quick, and and be able to provide the right size. Of course, a 1.4 if you want to move a little bit quicker, or maybe you're spraying a little bit thicker of a paint, you're going to be able to change that. Also, the tool, as you can see here, this is the disassembly tool. So the 10 here is to remove the nozzle on the front, and then of course you have a 14. The 14 is for the fitting, to remove that. So of course they're able to provide a kind of a 2-in-1 type wrench. Of course, they do have some, Devilbiss calls it a color ID kit. Now basically they're just, the rings are, you're able to change the color of the rings to identify, if you have multiple spray guns or something like that, or you want to just, for I don't know, fashion purposes or whatever, you're able to change that, but also to identify what you use this spray gun with. So if you have four of the same gun, and each one does something, a different application. For instance, one is for base coat, one is for clear, one is for primer, things of that nature. Obviously, some ID rings will help you to identify which gun is which. So that is, it's not super important, but it is a nice little feature. Now, of course, they do make adapters for them for the PPS. So this is my PPS adapter that goes right on top. Now, this gun did come uncupped, but I am able to use the cup from my other Devilbiss Plus spray gun, and it fits right on, so no problem there. I don't really need a gun that came with a cup. I already have one, and it fits perfectly. So one last feature I will mention. Of course, the Tekna Prolite does come with some instructions, but it also comes with a EPA approval certificate. So this is basically all the areas that this gun is compliant in, and it's basically compliant in most HVLP areas. So if you guys want to take a quick look at that, I will zoom in for you guys. That way, before you purchase it, you are able to know if this gun is approved in your area. So I will zoom in on all the areas, so that way you guys can have an idea. So here is the approval letter, and these are the states and jurisdictions where it is approved. Alright, so what are my final thoughts about the Tekna Prolite? Well, obviously, this is by no means a inexpensive spray gun. Of course, this is aimed for the professional, the day-to-day user, the person that is going to be spraying every day in and out, that needs one spray gun. If you are looking for that one particular spray gun that just kind of just does it all, this is the spray gun. This is the gun you want to get. This is the Techna Prolite. Any weather, any type of paint, this thing is going to be a monster. Okay, this is going to be your go-to gun, and I could see why other YouTubers such as Gunman and many others that spray on a day-to-day basis, this was his favorite spray gun for a very long time. I think this is still his go-to gun, and he rates it very, very highly. Of course, in different regions, it's called a GTI Prolite. Here in the States, they do call it a Techna Prolite. Basically the identical gun. The only difference between the Prolite and the Techna Prolite is obviously on the bottom here. You don't have an air adjustment. On the ones from that are out of state or are not in the USA, they do have an adjustment knob down here where you're able to adjust the pressure. Here on the state side or in USA, we don't have that option with our Techna Prolites. It's basically capped off there. So some unique features. I mean, really, all I could say is that this gun is just super versatile. And I haven't sprayed with this particular Techna Prolite, but I have sprayed with a Techna Prolite that my friend had. It didn't have a 1.3 like this one does. He had a 1.8, and of course he wasn't spraying automotive stuff. He was spraying like furniture and stuff like that. So he was using a different size tip. But after using his spray gun, I fell in love with it, and I thought that I could, if I found that right deal or that good deal, that I would jump on a Techna Prolite if I could. And of course, it did take me a couple years to get this spray gun. Reason being, of course, we all know that the Techna Prolite is just, it's a $500-600 spray gun all day long, brand new. So I paid right around $400. Exactly, I paid $420 for my spray gun. So I think I got a pretty good deal compared to what I found online, and I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, my only nitpick is the finish on the special edition. I'm not a big fan of it. Like I said, it does make it a little bit harder to clean when the paint gets on there. If I had the choice, I would stick with the black one. But other than that, I mean, the finish doesn't adhere or doesn't affect its performance. It's still going to perform well. It's still going to do the job. And of course, for those professional guys out there, doing this on a daily, this is more than likely the gun you guys are going to end up getting. Of course, if you're not a professional, you probably won't be purchasing this spray gun because of the price. It's just going to blow you away. Now, I did get a question about a Black Widow, comparing the Black Widow to a Techna Prolite. And to answer that question briefly, it might come down to spraying for some people. Some people think that, all that matters is just the last finish. If a $50 spray gun could spray as good as a $200 spray gun, that's all that's important to them. Of course, for the guys that do it professionally, on a daily basis, they want a gun that's going to last them years and perform well and perform like the day that they first used it. And that's the key difference when it comes down to the professional grade spray guns. Not only that, it also comes down to the materials that you're going to be expecting them to be using, and also the craftsmanship. Okay, Devilbiss is pretty proud of this one, and I could see why. This is a great machined gun, high grade. There's not much I can say that's bad about it, and with that said, this is the go-to gun. The Black Widow, unfortunately, it's not as versatile as the spray gun. This gun has so many tips options, so many air cap options, that it really just blows out any competition, any other lower grade gun than this. It's just going to blow it out of the water. So with that said, I really don't think the Black Widow really is in the same category as the Tekna Prolite. This is basically a gun that you could do it all with. That if you're looking to purchase one gun in your whole career of painting, this would be the gun. With the Black Widow, I can't say the same thing, unfortunately. It doesn't have enough infrastructure, it doesn't have enough backing, it doesn't have enough available tip sizes or replaceable parts. With this one, of course, you're going to have all those options, and of course, you have additional tips that come with the spray gun, the regulator, and some tooling, and you got a gun that's going to last you, your whole career. So, with that said, this is the review for the Tekna Prolite, the special edition, and thank you guys so much for watching. I am Just a Mechanic. Please give it a like, please get a comment, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to reach a goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Catch you on the next one. Stay spraying.